check it out.
What's up everybody, Super WRX fan here for weekly update number 9. So, what's new with the BRZ? Well, first thing, I passed 14,000 miles on it, so that's pretty cool. Second is, I think I've come up with a good idea for how to quiet this exhaust down. A lot of you guys said to, install electric cutouts or something like that, which is a really cool idea, and that's an awesome thing if you can get that on a car or in an exhaust system. But to fabricate it into this exhaust system and try and wire up the switches and all that stuff, it's a lot of work and a lot of trouble. So I think what I'm going to do first, just to try and see if it quiets down, is to install Dynamat in the spare tire trunk area of the car, and that should absorb some of the sound in some of the vibrations and the drone, and hopefully make it a little bit quieter in the cabin. And obviously it'd be just as loud outside, but at least for when you're driving in the car, it might not be as obnoxious. So I'm gonna try and find a place that sells Dynamat, get a good deal on it and install that, and I'll give you guys updates, about how I installed it and all that kind of stuff, and let you know if it works. So that should be coming up here in the not too distant future. And then the other thing is that I think I finally came up with a license plate idea. I think I'm just going to do WRX fan, because there's a lot of you guys locally who have seen me around and you're not sure, because now there's a few other blue BRZs out there, so you wonder if it's me or if it's someone else. So I figured if I just do WRX fan, that way everyone will know it's my car, and you can know to wave and be friendly and whatnot whenever you see me out and about. The only other thing I want to mention in this update is a friend of mine, his username on YouTube is That Dude in Blue. He has a really cool channel. For those of you that wanted me to buy the 2013 Mustang and wanted to see my my reviews and my experiences with the 2013 Mustang, he has a Grabber Blue 2013 Mustang, and he's doing updates similar to mine. Whenever he buys a new part or does things to his car, he'll do a nice little review. His cinematography and things like that are really great, and I added his channel to my featured channels list. So if you go on my channel, go on the right hand side, you'll see his channel there, That Dude in Blue, and you should definitely go subscribe to him, especially if you're interested in the ownership experience of a Mustang and the parts and the mods that you can do to Mustangs. Definitely check out his channel. It's putting out some really high quality stuff, especially recently, so check out his channel and stay tuned for his stuff. So that's it for all the BRZ themed updates. So now what I'm going to cut to is the news. Alright, so this week in automotive news. First thing I want to talk about is fresh news from today. The brand new 2014 Porsche 911 Turbo has been announced, and some pictures have been shown. I think it looks fantastic. The way it's designed, it's just simply evolutionary. It's nothing crazy, but it looks spectacular. I love the way it looks. The performance is a little bit less than I was hoping. It's 520 horsepower for the base turbo, and the Turbo S has 560 horsepower now. I mean, that's still 3.2 seconds 0 to 60, they say, for the base turbo, 3.1 for the Turbo S. I mean, these cars are seriously quick. I've driven the 997 Turbo S, and that thing is a rocket. I mean, aside from the twin-turbo Lamborghini I rode in, that's probably the fastest feeling car I've ever driven. I mean, it's just insane. So I mean, this one is sure to be even faster, even more insane. The only thing about this car that's a little disappointing is the fact that you can't get a manual in this version. It only comes with a PDK, but Porsche's PDK is probably one of the best dual clutch transmissions out there, so if I have to be forced with a dual clutch, I'd prefer to be forced with the PDK other than some of the other crappy dual clutch systems out there. So I mean, yeah, it's not a manual, but PDK is fantastic. It's still going to be a really fun car. I can't wait to see one in person, hopefully drive one eventually. They're going to be amazing. One interesting thing is they're adding four-wheel steering to this car, which is something that I haven't really heard about in a while. The original Honda Preludes back in the late 80s were some of the first cars that I remember having four-wheel steering, and that's a really cool technology. It decreases turning radius at low speeds and high speeds. It gives you excellent, stability and maneuverability as well. Really cool system. this is going to be the first time. That's normally a Japanese thing. I think there was a few BMWs and Porsche once or twice that had four-wheel steering, but this has really been a Japanese thing that, you know, Mazda's had it, you know, like I said, the Hondas and cars like that. So this is going to be the first time the Germans are really doing it widespread, and this is going to be pretty sweet technology, I think. Obviously, Porsche, this is going to be a way more high-tech advanced system than, you know, has been on the Japanese cars. And I guarantee you, because the GTR, the previous versions of the GTRs, the R34, R33s, those had four-wheel steering, and the R35, you know, the current generation GTR doesn't have four-wheel steering. But I feel like after this announcement, the Nissan engineers, if they decide to do a, you know, successor to the GTR, they're going to do four-wheel steering as well, because that's just, it's a really cool technology. I mean, it's something that can brake easier, it's an additional part, additional engineering, but it's a really cool technology. I think more cars should have four-wheel steering, really. And while we're on the Nissan GTR topic, I want to talk about another piece of news this week, is that Nissan announced the 2014 GTR Track Edition. And it's, you know, like every other GTR upgrade that they've come out with. It's basically, you know, a little bit of tweak here and there, a little bit nicer interior, carbon fiber rear spoiler. This one, it deletes the rear seats, and because they do you the favor of ripping out the rear seats for you, they've raised the price yet again. This is the most expensive GTR out there right now, I think. $115,710 for the Track Edition of the GTR. Now, they're only making 150 examples of this, limited production, da-da-da-da, whatever. But I just cannot believe how far this car has come price-wise. This was a car that was introduced back in 2008 for the 2009 model year with a $70,000 price tag. $70,000, and now we're looking at a $115,000 GTR. And I mean, they've done a few increases. You know, the power went from 480 up to 545. And yes, that's a pretty good, you know, horsepower bump, and they've, you know, tweaked the aerodynamics a little bit and tweaked things here and there. But seriously, to have that much of a price jump that, you know, now, I mean, even the standard 2014 GTR is going to be $100,000. $30,000 price increase in just a few years. That's pretty crazy. The GTR is not quite the performance bargain it once was. You know, people were saying, well, it's now either a Z06 or a GTR, but now the GTR is just getting super expensive. I mean, it's still an amazing car and still a huge, you know, value for the money. I mean, you can't get a faster car, I don't think, for $115,000 still. But, I mean, that much money, most people are just going to want to go with a 2009 GTR and go and do, you know, Cobb Stage 1, Stage 2, or Alpha 9 kits, all that kind of stuff, and make it way faster, handle way better for the money. I mean, I don't know why anyone would buy one of these except they want to collect it or something. I mean, really, it doesn't make much sense. And the last thing I want to talk about in this week's automotive news is the Jaguar F-Type Coupe. Now, last week I told you guys how much I'm in love with the F-Type. I adore it. I think it sounds amazing in the V6 and the V8 variants. It's just a spectacular car. This is saying that they're going to do a coupe, which has always been rumored since the original concept was a coupe, and it looks spectacular from the patent images that have been exposed, apparently, and it's just, it's a really cool looking coupe. I mean, it's gorgeous as a roadster, now it's gorgeous as a coupe as well. The other interesting news that came along with these patent images being exposed is that a 4-cylinder is possible, and that it's going to be coming with 240 horsepower. And that's interesting because it's going to be a very expensive BRZ rival if it's going to have more weight than the BRZ and only 40 more horsepower and almost certainly a way more expensive price tag. That's going to be a tough sell. I already said how the V6 and V8s are tough sells with 380 horsepower and, you know, 490, I think, for the V8 version. Really, they're fast cars, but this one, 240 horsepower in a car that's this heavy, is going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be very fast, and they're going to have to price it really aggressively if they want to sell them. Because I don't think too many people are going to be interested in a car that only has 240 horsepower that's going to be probably $50,000 still at least. So that'll be interesting to see how Jaguar markets that if they do intend to actually go forward with a 4-cylinder. So yeah, guys, that's about it for the automotive news that I want to talk about this week. So let me know your thoughts about those stories and anything else that you thought I should have talked about this week. We can certainly hit on it again next week. So yeah, guys, that's about it for this week's update. Hope you enjoyed the new news segment, and let me know what you think about, you know, my ideas of using Dynamat and what you think about the plate, you know, WRX fan. And yeah, as always, I'll leave you with a nice little acceleration here to and I just passed a cop.